Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This movie is directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who previously directed The Glass House and Just Mercy. This movie stars Simu Liu, Aquafina, and two other actors. I don't want to risk butchering their names, so I'm going to list them here. This story is about a man named Sean, played by Simu Liu, and his girlfriend Katie, played by Aquafina. And when he reconnects with his estranged family, he learns that they've played a bigger role in the world and in his past than he thought. And so he must decide what his place is in the world, what his place is amongst his family, and which side, whether it's light or dark, he's going to choose to side with. So when I first saw the trailer to this movie, I was excited because we didn't really have any martial arts type heroes out there. Yeah, we had Iron Fist from the Netflix show, but that show's not great. And so I was waiting for something different because a lot of the MCU movies were kind of copy-paste, color by numbers. They were getting to be a little uninteresting. So I thought this movie was going to be a lot like Black Panther, where you take this hero from the comics that I knew little to nothing about, and I thought it was going to shine some light on who this character is, who they are, what their goals are, and what type of role they're going to play in the MCU going forward. So, having seen this movie, I can say that this film was a pleasant surprise. It did everything I wanted it to, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do next. Now, this character of Shang-Chi was, to me, like Black Panther, or like Iron Man, where it was an introductory movie that was funny, was action-packed, had colorful, delightful, and various types of characters, but also set the stage for this world they live in. It showed you their environment, and it showed you the different aspects of the lore, the culture, and I really liked that about this movie. The acting from everyone involved was good. I liked the dynamic with Sean and his father. I liked the dynamic between Sean and his girlfriend. Katie, played by Aquafina, was really funny. She was the comic relief. She was the one that pointed out the obvious things for the audience. She was the one, that was like the newcomer of the group that wasn't used to things going on. It was kind of like, wait, what? What are we gonna... she was the fumbling one, the silly one, but it was funny because I like movies like that, where you have a character who's out of their element, who eventually grows to find their place in it. And so her character arc, which I didn't expect to see. I thought she was going to be a character maybe in the first act. She was going to get left behind. He was going to go on his own solo adventure. But no, I liked how she was a tag-along, because a lot of MCU movies, they don't do that anymore. They don't have like a companion type character, so I'm glad they kind of stuck with it. Also, we get introduced to Shang-Chi's sister, who was a nice addition as well. I liked how she was one of those characters that wasn't allowed to play with the boys. She wasn't allowed to be invited or, what's the word? She wasn't allowed to hang out with the guys, so she kind of did her own thing. So I liked that. Again, his father was very dynamic. He was more like a misunderstood type character. His goals and his intentions were there, but the way he went about them was not the proper way to do it. Also, his mom. I liked her inclusion as well. And so overall, this movie was about like anger and determination versus love and hope. And I like that because the fight scenes were what I was most looking forward to, and they were very well done. I'm not going to say they were like the best ever, like a lot of people are saying, but they were very welcomed. You don't see fight scenes like this in really any of the other MCU movies. The closest one I can think of would probably be the knife fight scenes in Winter Soldier. Again, they're different types of fights, but still, they're a type of action and fighting sequence that made you go, oh, you don't see this every day. And so this had those. You had this awesome scene on this train. You had some cool fight scenes in like a forest. And overall, just the martial arts aspect of this movie was a welcome surprise. I didn't think they were going to dive so heavily into the martial arts, what they entail, the lore, the backstory of this character, their culture, stuff like that. But I'm really glad they did, because that means you could have a movie that's not just for, your fans of Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. You have a different variation of a hero. You have this thing that branches off, like I said, like Black Panther. Something new and refreshing. The co-stars in this movie were also welcomed. I liked them a lot. And there's a cameo. I'm not going to say what it is, but let me just say I was grinning from ear to ear. And something else I really liked about this movie is the tie-ins to the Iron Man films. The Ten Rings were originally introduced in the first Iron Man film. So I liked how they incorporated that aspect of it. I also liked how they mentioned things from Iron Man 3. And I liked how Marvel did what I will always praise them for. It's probably, to me, the best thing that the MCU movies do. And that's take characters and use them in flashbacks. So you not only build that history of what came before, but also the de-aging of these characters. Yeah, when they took Michael Douglas and they showed him as a young man in Avengers Endgame, but also at the beginning of Ant-Man and Wasp, you believed it because it looked legit. So that's the one thing I really like about the MCU movies. When they have to incorporate things that came before, they show you flashbacks, and they work very well. I just want to say one more thing about the cameo, because it it made me so happy that this character was in the movie, and they brought them back. Let me just say that it ties into things in other MCU movies that came before, which was great. But also, this character was one of those fun additions, like John Hurt in Indiana Jones 4, or Bill Nighy in Wrath of the Titans. You have this big-name actor who's in this small role that isn't in the movie for very long, but they play kind of a pivotal role in how characters get to a certain destination. So this character was greatly appreciated. The only gripe I would say I have with this movie is that in a lot of films, whenever this big bad monster or this big bad threat comes about, you're going to have these characters or these villagers or these townsfolk or whatever, they get picked off real quick to kind of show you the seriousness of the threat. Well, they do that in this movie, but the two characters they pick to have this big bad kill off just threw me for a loop. I'm like, why would you establish these characters as likable or these characters as mysterious and badass just to have them picked off like that? That was kind of frustrating because I was like, what? We could have seen that character kept around for, more scenes or even more movies, but I don't know the reasoning behind it. That's the only thing that had me go, why did you do that? The rest of the movie I enjoyed. I didn't know what to expect, so when it all unfolded, I liked the way it did it. It definitely played into the Asian, the foreign film type aspect, because foreign films tell a different type of story than American movies do. And I liked how this embraced that. And this told a unique and a different kind of story. They're not going to give you the story in chronological order. No, they're going to show you the current storyline. They're going to show you flashbacks to help you understand what's going on now, and they just tell really good stories. And when you have awesome action thrown in, what's not to like? So, of course, make sure you stay during the credits. There are 2 post-credit scenes. There are a couple cameos from other MCU characters, which I also really enjoyed. And overall, Shang-Chi was a pleasant experience. I'm really excited to see what Simu Liu does going forward, and I'm really excited to see how he fits into the MCU and the Avengers, or whichever team he decides to join going forward. So, because Shang-Chi was just, it was nice, it was wholesome, it taught a good lesson, and it just was enjoyable overall. I'm gonna give it an A. This is a good movie, guys. It's different, but it also fits right in with the MCU, which is something I can't say about a lot of the MCU films. So until next time, guys, see ya.